Hey guys, Pharaoh here with League Top 10, and today we're going to talk about the Yorick first impressions. Now, right off the bat, I can tell you 6,300 is not what you're looking to spend on Yorick if you expect him to carry the game. If, you love the character concept the way I do, if, you love the idea of a character that does the Four Horsemen bit and the summoning, then yeah, you can buy Yorick and you can still have a great time with him. But right now, he is feeling a little underpowered, and there are a couple reasons for that I'm going to get into. But I thought I would just open with not worth 6,300 at all, one bit. Now, Yorick has a couple of definite problems, and I'm going to just outline them here for you real quick. First is the mana costs on his abilities are pretty atrociously high at early levels, and even later in the game they get to be pretty bad for his mana pool. So despite the fact that they want you to constantly spam your ghouls, that's why they have ridiculously low cooldowns, and they have short lifespans, so they expect you to recast them and you get a benefit while they're up. They cost a lot, and he doesn't have a lot of mana or mana regen, so they want you to itemize for mana. That's a big deal. You have to actually itemize for mana on a character who really could be resourceless as far as I care. Like, mana really is just a terrible limiting factor on him. Now, other problems. W and E both scale off of physical damage, and they scale really well off of physical damage. But they deal magical damage, and their penetration is only via magic pen. E, or Omen of Famine, is actually really good in the laning phase, but it really falls off late game because it scales only with bonus attack damage, which means that all of your base attack damage does not apply, which means you have to itemize for AD as well as mana because of the aforementioned mana problems. Now, if you're itemizing for both of these, then you're very squishy because you also have to itemize for defense because he has garbage HP scaling and nothing in his kit gives him any kind of survivability aside from the lifesteal given from his E. So the biggest problem that Yorick has right now is he is a complete mess to itemize. You have to pick up tanky items, you have to pick up flat attack damage, you have to pick up armor penetration, you have to pick up magic penetration, and you have to pick up cooldown reduction. It is obscene. It is unjustifiable what they are doing to this character as far as itemization goes. Alright, so let's say you're having a great time with Yorick and you decide to play him because he's fun to play and not because he's effective. And you know what? That's totally fine. I can understand that completely. I had tons of fun playing this character despite him being absolutely awful. But what he does bring to... We'll talk about what he brings to a fight because that's what people like to hear. He brings a persistent slow effect that lasts as long as the ghoul lasts, which is terrible, by the way. The ghouls, I didn't talk about this before, this is a major problem right here. The ghouls lose 20% of their HP a second every second they are out. They're also targetable by single target abilities, and they can get hit by all AoE. So basically, you summon the ghouls, and in a real team fight, they instantly die. If you're lucky, they'll block a skill shot for you. That is awesome. That is a great feeling. Throwing down, Omen of Pestilence, blocking a Blitzcrank grab, that's one of the best feelings in this game. But that doesn't happen very often, because, let's face it, they have no lifespan. If they would cut the life drain off these guys and just made it so they died after 5 seconds, cool, everything's fine, let them still be targetable by AoE. That's totally okay. But, you know what? Right now the ghouls don't last for garbage. Now, back to what I was saying, he brings a persistent slow from Omen of Pestilence. It's, I think it's 40% on the initial cast, and then 20% as long as the ghoul is out, and that ghoul chases people down. That's super awesome if the ghoul could live for more than 5 seconds. Not even 5 seconds. If that ghoul could last 2 whole seconds, I would love it. It would be a great slow. It's basically on summon it's dissonance, and then, it's not as good as dissonance after that, but it follows them around, so that's super cool. Now, Omen of War, I have a particular problem with. I just think it's a poorly designed ability. I understand that they don't want to give him they don't want to give him the speed boost because that would make him the best chaser or the best escape artist in the game. because 3-second cooldown, 35% movement speed increase, that's balance. No, it's not. It really isn't. Stop saying that he should get that. But, I understand that you have to hit a creature first with his Q to get the speed boost, and that's totally fine, because at max ranks, you can auto-attack a creature, just a minion, with Q, and then close the gap on the person and Q them down. And that's fun when you get enough items to do that, which doesn't really happen because we already talked about this. Really hard to itemize for. It needs a lot of money. Lots and lots of money. So that leads us to what? Omen of Famine, which is his E, which is awesome in lane, tapers off late game. I think I talked about it already. We'll go to Omen of Death. Omen of Death is his ultimate. Really good ability if your team is winning. Really bad if your team is losing. Now, why would I say that? Well, because if your team has, let's say, a carry who gets super fed, like, let's say, Tryndamere or Corki, you can make a clone of them. That clone will do the exact same damage as them, minus any abilities, obviously. And it just basically takes item damage and right-click damage and replicates it. So, that's super fun. You can double up on carries and then just burst people down, and that's awesome. But my problem with the ability is that there's no incentive to put it on a caster unless the caster is out of position and is going to die before they get their critical ability off. You can toss it on, let's say, Sona, who gets caught out of position and isn't going to get her ult off unless she gets your ult, and that's cool. But that's not really using the ability to the fullest, because if that Sona wasn't an idiot, you could use your ultimate to do more damage and help your team win the fight, instead of using it to save someone who is bad. Go figure, right? If people were less bad, you wouldn't have to save bad people? God, I'm just logic machine over here. So, anyway, what I was trying to say is that if you pick Yorick and plan to actually use him and go into fights with him and all that cool stuff, you can expect to basically be playing a utility version of a tanky DPS. And by a tanky DPS, I mean a DPS who gets pretty much no attack damage steroids from his skill set and is only as tanky as you make him. So basically, what I would like to see, I would like to see some changes to this character, because I had a great I cannot tell you guys how much fun this guy is to actually play. But it's just so completely underwhelming that if you haven't bought him, I would not recommend buying him for the experience unless you like disappointment, which, let's be honest, many of us do because we play solo queue. So, what I'm trying to say is, I would like to see a couple changes. I'd like to see mana costs lowered at all ranks. I'd like to see, W and E change to physical damage, scaling with armor penetration. I would like to see him get some kind of defensive bonuses. Maybe armor and magic resist when he casts his ultimate on someone. Like, that would be super cool. That way he would actually benefit from getting, say, a Warmogs and going into Atmas, instead of, basically pigeonholing him into having to buy MR and, armor to be any kind of survivable. So, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things they can do to him, and I hear talk that he's actually going to be getting buffed, so that would be super awesome to see. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, I just don't know how much more there is to say. I feel like I did a review of a character who was released a little too early, and I'd like to, come visit him when he actually gets buffed, because I feel like this is a character that can have a really high skill cap and can be really fun to play. But right now he's just way underwhelming, I'm sorry. So yeah, this has been Pharaoh with League Top 10. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys soon.